Hello, everybody. My name is Brianna, and I'm here to talk about how the different um, forms or the different types of discrimination are the different ways of abuse. These are the different expressions of toxic people. Yeah. And they can explain or be examples, I'll say, to be very clear. They can be examples of and experiences of the different types of abuse, the ways of toxic people, abusive people, ill spirited people, however you know it from your personal experiences um, and beliefs. Everybody know toxicity or a bad person as different things by different names, or spirits, or an ill spirited person, or a mean or ugly spirited person, or a dark spirited person, or a very faulty illusion based person, spirited person. um so yeah, I'll just get into it. The different forms of discrimination are the different expressions of toxic people. They love control. They love attacking your free will, your independence, your assertiveness, confidence, your authenticity. They love hijacking your authenticity and free will because it makes you more malleable. And so, if they can have control, which is what they want, they will not stop until they get it. They want to feel like they are in control. And at the base of toxicity is insecurity. It is unhinged insecurity. Misery loves company, I'll say that. And so they love being in control by making sure that there's a lesser. If they say that they are the more, or God's people, or godly people, or the better people, or normal people, whatever they label themselves as, I'm pretty sure that we have heard something of the sort, then somebody needs to be the lesser, right? If they are the better, the priority, the majority, somebody needs to be the ugly, the minority, and the worst, right? So, I have so many different ways that I want to come at this. But the different forms of discrimination are the different expressions of toxic people. And it is the different experiences of the different types of abuses, right? Emotional, physical, sexual abuse, such as discriminating or comparing based on looks, income, religion or non-religion, religion versus spirituality, right? Um, because it's a big problem, right? I'll get into it, but discriminating or comparing a person based off of their sexual orientation, their gender identity, their weight, their hair texture, all of these different things. And all of this is not to say, because toxic people will even abuse each other, right? So they will do anything to anybody, right? Anybody. But they love this control of anything and anybody as well. So putting people against each other, it gives them this confidence boost. It gives them this security because they will always make sure that the people of comparison, that it includes them and as the better, or the majority, or the godly, or the more godly, or the top of the top, right? The perfect, the flawless, the pretty, the Betty, the better, the more better, or whatever. um, and so don't whew, don't allow these people to fuck with you. It is disgusting and it is harmful and it is very, like I said, these are different forms of discrimination. So hate crimes, they will do anything to anybody, right? So I am a black queer person. So, for example, comparison, discrimination, totem poles, right? Putting people against each other. There's a more, there's a lesser, all that type of stuff, right? That also includes within a people, because anybody can be toxic. Let me just go back. Anybody can be toxic, and that is why I'm having this conversation of knowing that the different forms of discrimination and hate are the expressions, the different ways and manners of the expressions of toxic people. And so anybody can be toxic. So yes, there are going to be anti-black people. There's going to be anti-women, anti-femme people, femme presenting people, or femme aligned people. There's going to be trans people, because anybody can be toxic. And that is why we need to also get away from their ways and mannerisms of comparison, which is where this discrimination and hate-filled thing can be in the same arena of. It is in the same arena of, because they always do this so that they have this security, and they have this what we know as privilege or better treatment, or less mistreatment. And so but so as a black person, right, there are toxic people, right, who we know as they're racist, or anti-black. But that doesn't exclude black people. Black people are anti-black as well. And it's that conversation that we always have to have, where you do realize that we all are black, right? Like, it doesn't matter if I'm gay. It doesn't matter if the person next to me is in a wheelchair. It doesn't matter if the person next to me is autistic. We are all black. But you think that because you receive less mistreatment, you are a part of the more, or the privileged, or the godly, right? Because I'm queer, I'm not godly. And it's like, you do realize that we're all black, right? And so it's really much at any avenue or intersectionality where they can put somebody down to make themselves seem like they're more, what do they say, affluent or intelligent or attractive. And it is really, really, really fucked up. It is. And I say that a lot because it is really fucked up. And the discrimination is a way of fear mongering, because they couldn't get you to it is something that is passive aggressive. It is a passive aggressive tactic. And these are toxic people. So yes, their way of love, or what is normal, or what is godly, or what is right or righteous, is through doing the most fucked up, weird things. Like, it was a clear path, and they said, I feel like I should make my own path with a tornado and a tsunami and then a hurricane and a massive flood and then arson. Like, they didn't care. They just don't fucking care. They're toxic people. Like that was a big analogy, but like, it is so, this is who they are. And you can tell because this is what they naturally do. There's no provocation. There's no necessity. There's no requirement. There is literally just choice. And they said, really? And got so excited, but for the most ruthless and immoral of things. So it is something that is passive aggressive to coercive and coercively and forcefully, if need be, or where and when need be, because they always stress that there's a time and place, right? They love looking like whatever they want to look like, whatever it is, to perfect. So there's always a time and place to do things and, be, whatever it is, that they're trying to be. But discrimination is a way to enforce and reinforce and demonize and dehumanize at the same time. You're going to get on track with this thing, and you're going to know that this is the thing to get on track with, because I'm going to make sure of it. And it is fear mongering, and it is conversion therapy. It is so much. It is programs, camps such as like conversion therapy, pamphlets, weaponizing religion, altering or distorting or making up a religion or spirituality or belief or faith, becoming a leader or a preacher or a teacher or a counselor within a religion or a faith or a spirituality or a tribe, right? Becoming the leader, becoming the head, becoming the teacher, becoming the wise, right? The wise. That feeds their control. And they will abuse anybody, whether you are another toxic person or not. But they always need to have an accessibility. Like they need a all-inclusive resort to you, right? And so discriminating, it lets you know that you're gonna be preyed on, and that you're gonna be in the perfect position. So take off all of your strengths, your self-esteem, like TSA, right? Take it off. If you got a hoodie on, take it off. Like if you got your self-esteem and your self-defense, take it off. You got your authenticity and your assertiveness, take it off. They don't want that. You're going to have to make them shut the place down. And they don't want to have to shut the place down. And they will. The crazy thing is that they already probably have. And you don't even know it because they're still running things as smoothly as possible. Right? You have you have hate crimes, but then you have on TV the normalization of it. So things are running smooth. Right? They have their control and it looks very seamless. Right? And I'm probably talking all over the place, but I just really want to get this out because the different forms of discrimination and hate are the expressions of toxic people. Nobody who is of decency is walking around transphobic and is brainwashing already physically and sexually abusive people, other toxic people, right? Or not even brainwashing, but emboldening them to go and hate crime a trans person. No decent human being is going to be a preacher for somebody to be how can I say it? Assaultant, right? A perpetrator. Right? Nobody, you, and that's another thing. When you discriminate, what they do is you pick the wolves from the sheep. Though the wolves are in sheep's wool, you know who you are. You know the type of people that you are. It's like, you can differentiate on the first day of school who you gonna fuck with and who you not gonna fuck with. Okay? And that's kind of what it is every single time for these types of people, for toxic people. And you can differentiate. You got your empire, your clique. And so they call forward toxic people to do the thing that they do. How can I say? Because this is a layered, very obviously. Because just as good people who are being themselves, they are authentic, right? So it's multidimensional. There's no question about it. Toxic people is multidimensional, so it's layered. It is loopy and it is twisted. These layers are enmeshed and binded and like coagulated. It's just so mixed and frayed, and it's so distorted. It's so off-putting. So there's totem poles, right? That comparison, that totem poles type of thing. And so it's not that, because I've talked about this before, just to go back. It's not that toxic people aren't that abusive. They just haven't done it yet. And so they'll be like, that's not how I get down. I can get somebody else to do it. And so they will. And they call forward other toxic people. And so that person, that toxic person that became a preacher, emboldening another toxic person who is physically abusive and is friends with somebody who is sexually abusive, and they're all going to go do what that preacher, quote unquote, told them to do, as though they don't have a mind. And they are out here looking for trans people. And I want people to understand that. They are out here looking for a woman who is not being submissive. They're out here looking at little girls. And we know this as Black girls, Black femmes. We know that we are preyed on very young. And so the way that we have to grow up really fast, it's like, it's really fucked up. And then it doesn't help, because if they have normalized the abuse, they have comforted the abuser and normalized, they are already readying to protect the abuser. So, like being called a whore, being called fast, being called grown or too grown or old, you acting older for your age, or you acting out of line. Don't do this, don't wear that, don't dress up in that color, don't wear that skirt, or don't wear skirts, don't wear that dress. And it's so crazy, because if you read between the lines, it's almost like a toxic person who realizes that they are around another toxic person, because they're going down this long list of the things, of the ways of this toxic person and their requirements of the perfect prey, and telling you not to be like that, but then scapegoating you because they're friends with them. Crazy. So discrimination is fucked up because it dehumanizes people, and it controls people, and it washes away people's identities. And it's so crazy. Like, even if you are being and doing everything that a toxic person tells you to do, nothing is ever enough, and they get their appeasement from harm. So nothing is ever enough gives them an excuse, because you are not doing, you are not saying, you are not dressing, you are not showing up as whatever they say. And it's like you are, but then they say you aren't. So that's my discussion on discrimination, and, linked to the types of abuse and being the ways of toxic people, abusive people. Don't be around people who are, from introduction to closing statements, are discriminating, or another way that they want to put it, comparing, or comparisons, or totem poles, or standards, right? Or verses, right? Or battles, right? Gender wars, gender battles, straight people versus the other people, or God's people versus those people. Don't be around people who are comparing or discriminating, being verbally, emotionally, and psychologically abusive. These are ways of abusers. Nobody who is of decency is going to do this, right? And that is also what they hope when they do this, because discrimination is like it is brainwashing, it is indoctrinating, it is grooming. And so you're like a little minion, right? You're going to harm yourself. You're going to harm other people in the spaces of which they don't want to be, right? Or can't be, or can't get access to, right? And you're going to bleed onto all of them through the lashings and the cuts that they have put on you. And until you realize it, that you're being groomed and taken advantage of to be a pawn in their plan to take advantage on a greater scale, it's just going to keep happening. And that is kind of what they hope. And even when you do wake up and you do realize it, There's other toxic people. What they say, you just need the man to do the job. You just need the right man to get the job done. And they will fuck over each other. They will use another toxic person. So there's that. So that's all I have. Until next time, take care, stay aware and discerning, and don't buy into the discrimination, the discriminatory tactics and so-called conversations, because you are not a debate. You are a human. You are not an ice cream flavor. You are a person. You are not an inanimate object to debate or negotiate or pawn off or auction off. You are a living, breathing being with your own free will and sense of self and personhood. And yeah, stand on that. Stand in that.